Tell me, why are you so good to me?
Shall I climb up and tell you why?
Long before James Bond or Mission Impossible, there was North by Northwest, Alfred Hitchcock's masterpiece of mistaken identity, danger, and charm. Released in 1959, this film turned Cary Grant into the ultimate suave man on the run and redefined what a thriller could look like. But behind its polished perfection lies chaos, improvisation, and secrets Hollywood never wanted you to know. Here are 20 weird, wild, and hidden facts you didn't know about North by Northwest, the movie that inspired generations of spies, filmmakers, and dreamers. Before we start, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true Hollywood stories that changed cinema forever. Fact 1. The title means absolutely nothing. North by Northwest sounds mysterious, like a coded direction. But here's the truth. It doesn't mean anything at all. Hitchcock and screenwriter Ernest Lehman couldn't agree on a title. They joked about the man on Lincoln's nose, then in a northwesterly direction. Finally, they landed on North by Northwest, a phrase that doesn't even exist on a compass. Hitchcock later said, "It's meaningless, and that's why it works." Only Hitch could turn nonsense into legend. Fact 2. Hitchcock invented the modern action movie. Before this film, thrillers were quiet, dark, and talky. Then came North by Northwest, fast, sexy, and cinematic. It mixed humor, mystery, danger, and romance like never before. The crop duster chase, the train flirtation, and the Mount Rushmore finale became the blueprint for every spy movie that followed, from Bond to Bourne. Critics call it the first true modern action thriller. And they're right. Hitchcock invented the language of today's blockbusters. Fact 3. Cary Grant had no idea what was going on. Cary Grant was as confused as his character. Halfway through shooting, he told friends, "I'm halfway through the picture, and I still don't understand it." He'd constantly ask Hitchcock, "Who am I running from again?" Hitchcock just smiled and said, "From the audience's imagination." Grant trusted him completely. And somehow, that confusion gave us one of the most authentic performances in thriller history. Fact 4. The most expensive MGM movie of the 1950s. This wasn't a modest thriller. MGM poured $4.3 million, a massive budget for 1959, into the project. Every frame was art-directed to perfection. Custom props, handmade matchbooks, real hotel interiors, and cutting-edge effects. Hitchcock had full creative control, a rare privilege in the studio era. The gamble paid off. It became one of MGM's biggest hits and a timeless profit maker. Fact 5. The crop duster scene took days to film. One of the most iconic sequences ever. Cary Grant being hunted in an open field by a crop dusting plane. Shot in Bakersfield, California, not Indiana, it took 6 days and 3 stunt planes to capture perfectly. The dust wasn't fake. Grant was literally blasted with pesticide powder. The idea came straight from Hitchcock. If assassins hide in shadows, let's kill a man in broad daylight. That's the genius of contrast. Fear under the sun. Fact 6. Eva Marie, Saint improvised her sexiest line. On the train scene, when Grant flirts with Eva Marie Saint, the chemistry is electric. Her line, "I never discuss love on an empty stomach," was totally improvised. Hitchcock loved it and kept it. It became one of the most subtly suggestive lines in 1950s cinema, proving sometimes the best moments aren't written, they're felt. Fact 7. The censors hated the train scene. That final image, the train plunging into a tunnel, is Hitchcock's most famous visual joke. It's a sly symbol of romantic climax, hidden in plain sight. The censors thought it was too inappropriate, but Hitchcock refused to change it. He simply said, "It's just a train entering a tunnel. What could possibly be improper about that?" The audience roared with laughter. The censors? Speechless. Fact 8. Hitchcock never visited Mount Rushmore. You'd think the film's most daring scene, Grant and Saint climbing Mount Rushmore, was shot on location. But Hitchcock never went there. The U.S. government banned filming on the real monument. So MGM built a full-scale replica inside a soundstage in Hollywood. Only a few establishing shots were real. The rest was movie magic. That's Hitchcock's brilliance. Illusion that feels realer than reality. Fact 9. The studio lied to the Park Service to get permission for those few shots at Mount Rushmore. MGM promised, no violência, no chase cenas, no deates. Then Hitchcock filmed all 3. When park officials saw the finished movie, they were furious. But it was too late. The masterpiece was already in theaters, and America was too busy applauding to care. Fact 10. Hitchcock appears in the first 30 seconds. Hitchcock loves his cameos, but this one is quick. He tries to board a bus, and the doors slam right in his face. It's funny, human, and perfect Hitchcock timing. It's also symbolic. Even the director can't escape his own suspense. Fact 11. The real Roger Thornhill was a mistake. Cary Grant plays Roger Thornhill, a man mistaken for a spy named George Kaplan. But during filming, MGM received a legal notice. Turns out there was a real George Kaplan working in U.S. intelligence. The studio panicked and quietly changed details in the script to avoid a lawsuit. Sometimes, even fiction gets too close to the truth. Fact 12. Grant almost quit midway. Cary Grant, the ultimate symbol of charm, control, and confidence, nearly walked off North by Northwest. Halfway through filming, he became frustrated. He complained that the script made no sense, that scenes were being rewritten daily, and that his character had no clear motivation. He told his agent bluntly, "This movie's going nowhere." Grant had already made over 60 films. He knew chaos when he saw it. But then Hitchcock showed him a rough cut of the crop duster chase scene. Grant watched in silence and then smiled. He later admitted it was the most entertaining film I ever made. The irony? The confusion he felt during filming was exactly what his character, Roger Thornhill, was supposed to feel on screen. Fact 13. The opening titles changed Hollywood forever. Before North by Northwest, movie openings were static, just plain text fading in and out. Then came Saul Bass, the genius designer who turned the opening credits into an art form. The film opens with bold green lines slicing across the screen, forming a grid that turns into a skyscraper reflection. Audiences had never seen anything like it. This was the birth of motion graphics, the first ever kinetic title sequence in cinema. Bass transformed something people used to skip into something they'd never forget. Today, every blockbuster, from James Bond to Marvel, owes a creative debt to that single idea. Fact 14. Hitchcock's favorite movie. Out of his 53 films, Alfred Hitchcock had one clear favorite, North by Northwest. Not Psycho, not Vertigo, not Rear Window. This was the movie he called the Hitchcock picture to end all Hitchcock pictures. Why? Because it had everything he loved: mistaken identity, suspense, humor, romance, and visual perfection. He finally achieved the perfect balance between elegance and danger. It wasn't just a thriller. It was the ultimate Hitchcock fantasy, where a man in a gray suit could outrun death, kiss a spy, and survive Mount Rushmore. Fact 15. The government didn't like it. When the FBI saw North by Northwest, they weren't thrilled. The movie's fictional spy agency, the Bureau of Intelligence and Espionage, made real government departments look clumsy. Officials complained that Hitchcock's story implied the FBI was bureaucratic and careless. Hitchcock didn't flinch. He famously replied, "If they were more efficient, I wouldn't have had a story." It was pure Hitchcock, sharp, funny, and fearless. And once again, the master of suspense proved that art doesn't need government approval to make history. Fact 16. Hitchcock's dark humor on set. Behind the camera, Hitchcock was quiet, polite, and wickedly funny. He rarely raised his voice, but his humor could unsettle anyone. One afternoon, the cast and crew sat down for lunch, only to find their steaks and potatoes had been dyed bright blue. The crew froze. Hitchcock simply looked around and said, "Suspense begins in the stomach." No one dared to ask for seconds. To him, filmmaking wasn't just about fear on screen. It was about keeping his actors slightly off balance, so their performances stayed sharp and unpredictable. Fact 17. the first movie to use microfilm as a plot device. In North by Northwest, everyone's chasing one tiny object, a piece of microfilm hidden inside a statue. That little reel of secrets became the story's MacGuffin, Hitchcock's term for the thing everyone wants, but the audience doesn't care about. This was the first major Hollywood film to use microfilm as a spy plot device. The idea was so effective, it became a Cold War cliché, copied by thrillers, parodies, and real intelligence agencies alike. The MacGuffin didn't matter, but it drove one of the most exciting chases in film history. Fact 18. The soundtrack is pure adrenaline. Composer Bernard Herrmann, Hitchcock's musical soulmate, created a score that moves like a heartbeat under stress. From the first note, the orchestra surges with tension, strings slicing the air, horns chasing each other like predators. Herrmann said he wanted the audience to feel like they were running before the picture even starts. The result was one of the most iconic soundtracks ever recorded. It turned every chase, every kiss, and every escape into a pulse-pounding symphony of suspense. Fact 19. IT inspired every spy movie that followed. Without North by Northwest, there would be no James Bond, no Mission Impossible, no Indiana Jones. Steven Spielberg called it the film that taught me adventure. He even admitted that Raiders of the Lost Ark was his Hitchcock tribute. The DNA of this movie runs through decades of cinema. The ordinary man in extraordinary danger. The chase across iconic landmarks. And the blend of wit, danger, and romance. North by Northwest didn't just inspire filmmakers. It defined what modern adventure movies could be. Fact 20. IT still looks modern, 65 years later. More than 6 decades later, the film's pacing, editing, and visuals still feel fresh. Every frame was designed with timeless clarity. Cary Grant's charm, Hitchcock's direction, and Lehman's screenplay made lightning in a bottle. It's not just an old thriller. It's the DNA of every adventure movie made since. The master's signature. In a way, North by Northwest is Hitchcock's autobiography. A man running from shadows. Never fully seen, never fully caught. And even after all these years, the movie still asks the same question. What happens when the ordinary meets the extraordinary and refuses to look away?